Bernie Sanders wasn't a household name in America until he challenged Hillary Clinton in the 2016 Democratic primary. Despite losing, he now is a national spotlight. He is currently making speeches all over the country because of his newfound influence in the Democratic Party. Recently, he spoke at a college in Boston, where he basically disavowed identity politics. Here's a question where he was asked about it.
Rebecca says, I want to be the second Latina senator in U.S. history. Any tips?
Second Latina senator? Kind of an odd question. Why would your race and gender matter? People couldn't care less about your race and gender. What are your stances on public policy? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to Bernie Sanders' answer.
Okay, let me respond in a way that the questioner may not be happy with.
Oh God, Bernie, you might piss off the SJWs. Be careful.
It goes without saying that as we fight to end all forms of discrimination, as we fight to bring more and more women into the political process, Latinos, African Americans, Native Americans, all of that is enormously important, and count me in if somebody wants to see that happen. But it is not good enough for somebody to say, hey, I'm a Latina, vote for me. That is not good enough. I have to know whether that Latina is going to stand up with the working class of this country and is going to take on big money interests.
Great point. If someone wants to run for the US Senate and they want to help the working class in this country, we should back them. If they happen to be Latina, good for them. But people vote on issues, not race or gender.
Now, one of the problems, one of the struggles that we're going to have right now, let me lay it on the table in the Democratic Party, is it's not good enough for me to say, okay, well, we got X number of African Americans over here. We got Y number of Latinos. We have Z number of women. We are a diverse party, a diverse nation. Not good enough.
The reason this argument holds is because we need a diversity of ideas first and foremost. Not all white people think the same. Not all black people think the same. Not all Latinos think the same, etc., etc. They're not monoliths with the same thinking minds. We can't just up the racial or gender diversity in politics to make a lasting change. Martin Luther King Jr. said it years ago. I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We need to elect people who want to help and improve our nation, and not politicians who are just in it for themselves. Minorities and women have been steadily increasing in political positions for decades now. Has that changed the corrupt system Washington, D.C. has operated in? Not one bit.
We need that diversity. That goes without saying. That is accepted. Right now, we've made some progress in getting women into politics. I think we got 20 women in the Senate now. We need 50 women in the Senate. We need more African Americans. But
if there were 50 viable women running for the Senate in the next decade to get 50 women in the Senate, then yes, 50 women should be in the Senate. But the fact that they're women doesn't mean we should just put them in the Senate.
Here is my point, and this is where there's going to be a division within the Democratic Party. It is not good enough for somebody to say, I'm a woman, vote for me.
Exactly.
No, that's not good enough. What we need is a woman who has the guts to stand up to Wall Street, to the insurance companies, to the drug companies, to the fossil fuel industry.
Something Hillary Clinton never did.
In other words, one of the struggles that you're going to be seeing in the Democratic Party is whether we go beyond identity politics.
Looks like there might actually be hope for the Democratic Party after all. Of course, a lot of SJW drones disagreed with Bernie on this one, which we will get to later in this video, but it's still a step in the right direction.
You know, I think it's a step forward in America if you have an African American head of CEO of some major corporation. But you know what? If that guy is going to be shipping jobs out of this country and exploiting his workers, doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot whether he's black or white or Latino. All right? And I know, some people may not agree with me, but that is the fight that we're going to have right now within the Democratic Party. The working class of this country is being decimated. That's why Donald Trump won.
Bernie Sanders just hit the nail on the head. Hillary Clinton sat on her high horse and called Trump supporters racist, sexist, xenophobic, pick your buzzword. She failed to understand that for the majority of Trump supporters, it was never about race or gender. It was about people who had lost their jobs because they were shipped overseas, or the economy left them scrambling for their next job. Trump made that a primary issue in his campaign, while Hillary Clinton's campaign was essentially an attack on Trump. She wasn't inspiring people to vote for her. She was just trying to get people to not vote for Trump.
And what we need now are candidates who stand with those working people, who understand that real median family income has gone down, that young people in many parts of this country have a very limited future, that life expectancy for many workers is going down. People can't afford health care, can't afford their medicine, can't afford to send their kids to college. We need candidates, black and white and Latino and gay and male. We need all of that. But we need all of those candidates and public officials to have the guts to stand up to the oligarchy. That is the fight of today. So I say to that, what's her name, Deborah? Rebecca, I would be delighted to support you, but it is not good enough that you're a woman, not good enough that you're a Latino. You're going to have to tell me how you stand on the major issues facing this country and whether you have the guts to take on big money.
Ultimately, Sanders made a very good point. Identity politics is bullshit. He decided not to bow down to SJWs. Whether you like his ideas or not, at least he is fighting for his ideas and sees people as individuals rather than classifying them into a certain category from their race or gender. The Democratic Party may actually have a chance to bounce back from the devastating losses in the presidency, the Senate, and the House. But first, they must get rid of identity politics. Now, real quick, let's take a look at some tweets in response to Sanders' comments.
Bernie Sanders can pry my identity politics from my cold, dead woman hands.
When I first read this, I thought it was a joke, but then I read a bit more of her tweets and realized it wasn't. Awkward.
Senator Bernie Sanders in latest speech. Racism is good.
He literally said the opposite of that. He said we should care about politicians' policy positions rather than the fact that they're white or black or Latino. Literally the opposite of racism.
Here's the full transcript of Bernie Sanders' statement on identity politics. That is truly shocking.
I understand this is a joke, but it's rooted in disdain for Sanders' comments. Again, pretty much the opposite of what he said. When all is said and done, Sanders said something against the ideology of the SJWs on the left, and the SJWs responded accordingly. I think Sanders is on a mission to save the Democratic Party. Identity politics is the reason Trump won, and he knows that. In 4 years, I guess we'll find out if he can salvage it. If Trump is elected to a second term, he failed. I think the first thing the Democrats should do is never run someone like Hillary Clinton ever again. A politician that's in the pockets of Wall Street. Anyway, thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos.